It's live.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday Night Green Dragon.
Hey guys, hey folks, sorry about the technical difficulties. We're still working out some bugs. I'm a newbie. Yeah, this is Quasarnugz. We got 10-round Patriot here, Saints and Sappers, and we wanted to discuss some articles, some stuff that was bothering us. Hope everyone's having a good Sunday night. I know I am. You guys having a good Sunday night?
Having a Sunday night, that's for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Outstanding.
Just a quick update: we are live on YouTube, as well as Google Plus, guys.
Right. Here we go. One of the first things that was kind of bothering us is the constant push by the neoconservatives to tax everybody to oblivion. You know, they're pushing these. The rich are pushing these taxes on everybody. You know, they want global warming taxes. They want carbon taxes. They want CO2 taxes. They want to tax your cars to by the mileage. It's endless, the amount of money that they're trying to milk out of us. If you the U.S. District Court Judge James C. Fox in 2003 stated, if you examine the 16th Amendment carefully, you would find that the sufficient number of states never ratified that amendment. A lot of people don't even realize that before 1913, there really was no tax code in this country. We didn't need one. The Federal Reserve Act, which brought in, when it was passed in 1913, it's what brought the tyranny of taxes, the tidal wave of taxes upon us as people. We didn't have that. Everything was self-sufficient. The whole American ethos, the whole American ideology was to be self-sufficient. We didn't need Big Brother taking care of us and gathering all the money and then dispersing it amongst his little peons. The Federal Reserve Act was slipped to Congress and passed on Xmas Eve with a controlling number of senators. They had bribed only attending the vote. So they had, in 1913 on Christmas Eve, they had some senators show up because it was snowing. It was a real bad snowstorm. They traveled miles and miles. You know, this was horse and buggy days. And, they got in there. They voted. Nobody else voted because they didn't announce the vote. Nobody knew about the vote but those in the circle. And the whole vote was rigged because they only needed a controlling number of votes. That means attendees that participated in the voting to win. And that's exactly how the Federal Reserve Act came into play on Christmas Eve, 1913. Woodrow Wilson in 1919, after his presidency, in one of his books, I forget which book, excuse me, I'm sorry, he stated, I am an unhappy man. I have unwittingly ruined my country. A once great industrial nation is now controlled by its system of credit. We are no longer a government by free opinion, no longer a government by conviction and the vote of the majority, but a government by the opinion and duress of a small group of dominant men. You know, that was in 1919. He knew he was signing us onto debt, onto serfdom. Any of you guys got anything to add?
Well, they've done it. They've done it several times. You know, they always want to vote on something when nobody's there.
Yeah, go ahead and keep talking for a minute. I got to pull something up.
Yeah, they. I don't know what's going to come of them because they've already strapped the American people down to where you're only getting about 50 cents out of every dollar that you earn by the time you pay federal, state, employment tax, license and regulation, Social Security, everything else they hack out of it.
You got to pay what's owed to the king, right?
And then the next thing that happens is when you spend it, you have to pay tax again. And if you save it, you get taxed on it, unless you put it in something that's variable market where you might actually lose part of your savings, because it's happened in the past with the 401s. I've heard several horror stories of people that's lost a lot of their money out of their pocket, and their profits are dwindling, but yet those people that are making the rules for the as the game goes along on the stock markets and whatever, where these people's got their money and futures, they're screaming it's manipulated, which I'm sure a lot of it is. Not much left.
The New York Times published an article on January 25th in 1916 that stated, in substance, the courts holds that the 16th Amendment did not empower the federal government to levy a new tax. In 2005, the illegal tax on Americans' labor collected $927.2 billion. That was in 2005. $927.2 billion. Almost $1 trillion. Okay? The legal corporate income tax collected from all the corporations in the United States was $278.3 billion. Did anybody see a difference here? See, before the Federal Reserve Act was passed, corporations and industry paid all the taxes. The American people, the government wasn't able to tax their labor like this. They're taxing us into oblivion. I mean, Mark Twain stated that the only difference between a taxidermist and a taxman is that the taxidermist allows you to keep the skin. The article that was kind of bothering me personally here was this article out of the Independent, UK.
Which is the very first link we dropped in on the external board portion.
Bill Gates stated, there is no fortune to be made even if you have a new energy source that costs the same as today's and emits no CO2. It will be uncertain compared with what's tried and true and already operating at an unbelievable scale and has gotten through all the regulatory problems. Without a substantial carbon tax, there's no incentive for innovators or plant buyers to switch. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Without a substantial carbon tax, there's no incentive for innovators or plant buyers to switch. Basically, what he's saying is the investors, the people that, build the factories and build the stores, don't want to invest in America because the big corporations don't have their global carbon tax. Let me finish. Since World War II, U.S. government research and development, R&D, has defined the state of the art in almost every area. The private sector is in general inept. The climate problem has to be solved in the rich countries. China and the U.S. and Europe have to solve CO2 emissions, and when they do, hopefully, they'll make it cheap enough for everyone else. This is Big Brother at work. They created the problem. The giant corporations, the Fortune 500 companies, created this horrible problem that we're seeing all over the world. They're poisoning the people. They're poisoning our children. They're poisoning our futures. They're in breach of trust. They're in breach of contract on every level, and yet we give them all our power. We give them the right to determine our future without us. When people are going to realize that these people meet in closed doors and discuss our fate and our future, your kids' future, without us? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Well, they're charging you for the air you breathe now. No more free water, no more free air.
Exactly. And then the other countries like China, they don't have to follow these rules. They're not going to be paying no carbon credits. They're not going to be paying to be alive, to breathe water. It's
They've stripped the rest of the world of everything now. The only people who have a fortune is us and a few other countries. And they're doing everything they can to strip these countries of everything.
Well, they're running out of things to tax, and they really sales tax. They jump it by percentages now, but every now and then they get brave and jump it by 4%. So every tax that goes in is less that you get to bring home, and the more that the big companies get to put in their pocket. Because
Quasar, you're still screen sharing.
As he said, only the big companies are inept enough to. In other words, only my buddies are smart enough to fix this problem.
exactly.
and not so many words. I mean, in just, plain old lingo. My buddies, smart buddies that are rich, are the only ones that can fix this problem because y'all are just wandering around.
Ben
For lack of
Franklin,
better words than that.
right, exactly, Saints. Thank you. Ben Franklin stated the refusal of King George III to allow the colonies to operate an honest money system, which freed the ordinary man from the clutches of the usury money manipulators, was probably the prime cause of the revolution. Ben Franklin said that. It's all the answers are in history, but people's opinions and thoughts are gathered secondhand from 3-minute and 4-minute news clips because they got some guy that is appealing to the ladies. He's got slick back hair and he's got $1,000 Armani suit or $5,000. I don't even know how much an Armani suit costs. I'm poor. That's dreaming for me. And then they have some blonde bimbo with blue eyes and big whats on there telling you lies and propaganda, just bullshit. That you can pick apart their stories if you actually sit down and read. All you have to do really is go read the source articles, because there'll be 4 or 5 different competing news agencies that'll write articles about the same thing. Though every friggin' one of them will be different. But they'll all be written differently, but they'll all be written in a way that they all point to the same herd mentality. They'll all be important to the government narrative.
Right.
And it's a part of the way they control the media. They have to control the media.
And
Those who would overthrow liberty must first begin with the freedom of speech. Ben Franklin again.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Well, they've got to massage it and manicure it, not to hurt any, not to discriminate against anybody, or not to single out any group. Everybody's the same square box. So they've got to make it where it's just a putty message, just something to appease you. Well, I watched the news.
Martin Luther King stated, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Does that mean anything to anybody anymore? Does anybody have any morals left in their heart? Does anybody else recognize that our government, the American U.S. government, trying to generalize and moralize, make relevant torture in our society, and the destruction of the morality? Did anybody see the effects that has?
No more individualism.
Mm-mm.
Right. And that's what it's about, dehumanizing us. We're not humans to them. It's amazing times we're living in. And then we have these elite like Bill Gates running around making speeches, and I'm sure it's been played on these channels and these talks a lot. A lot of people know about this. If you're in the know, you know that Bill Gates makes public speeches about how he wants to give people more jobs by taking the lives from elderly and sick and destitute people. He openly states these things, that, we're going to have to make choices, hard choices, he says, whether or not, we got to give them teachers, better pay and more hours, or do we really need to keep grandma alive because we really can't afford to do both. They make those arguments. The liberal media, the scientific papers coming out of fucking Harvard and Yale that have to do with abortion and eugenics and population control. Does anybody else see this shit? These people are literally trying to justify abortions, the murder of children up to the age of 5. I'm not making this up. Google the articles. You can Google it. You can do your own research, but most of you won't. And that's what's sad.
Absolutely. Their justification for it is to say that you don't know if you love it up to that age, until that age. Because if you don't love it, its life doesn't matter. So, as long as you don't love it, it's okay to kill your kid.
Well, they've got a pretty warm word that they use called quality of life. And, but I don't know. There's so many people that's homeless out on the street. I don't know where they're getting quality of life, because those people quality ain't real high.
Nope. It's unfortunate, the society, the way it's been dumbed down and beat down to to where people just won't stand up for what they know is right, because everyone has that that voice in the back of their head that says, "Hey, this isn't right. You know, I shouldn't have to be searched to come in and watch a movie. I shouldn't have to be searched after you just watched me exit the thing and purchase all my stuff." You know, it's they're beating society down to just accept whatever they say. You know, just like Quasar said, the media plays it out to the news people and tell them, "Hey, this is the narrative I want you to run." They run the narrative. It's all owned by 6 corporations. So no matter what, it's all going to be ran to the narrative that these billion-dollar companies say to run it as. Otherwise, they lose their funding, and then they're no longer a media system. So they go along to get along.
Well, they don't want to be scrutinized either. Heaven forbid being singled out and scrutinized.
Right, right. An error does not become truth by reason of multiplied propagation, nor does truth become error because nobody will see it. Mahatma Gandhi. You know, it doesn't matter that the masses of people don't understand or don't see the fact that they've been demoralized to the point through videos, music, brainwashing, you know, subliminal messaging that they don't understand that torture is bad anymore. They don't understand that too many taxes on the people, we the people, is a usury system. That's not capitalism. That's not fucking capitalism. And you're a retard if you think we live in a capitalist society in the year 2015. You're delusional. You're living in the Matrix. You're living in a pre-constructed fabrication of reality that's been put forth to you by social engineers like Edward Bernays and Zygmunt Brzezinski. But people that want to argue with us and think we're crazy because we look at what these people are saying and say, "Hey, did you hear that? Hillary Clinton just said she loves how she gets all her talking points from the Council on Foreign Relations." Do you guys know what the Council on Foreign Relations is? Oh yeah, that's that agency that they said didn't exist for 40 years, but it turns out, oh yeah, it's another conspiracy it's real. Yeah, they exist. Oh, and they do set policy. They set policy. They set U.S. foreign policy. A private fucking group of individuals that meet behind closed doors set our foreign policy. But I'm a kook and a creepy conspiracist because I understand that. I understand that corrupt individuals without any fucking morals and have no fucking scruples about destroying or subjugating our society. They've already sold us out. I don't even think of them as human, honestly. I really don't. Mini rant.
Okay, we beat that horse up for about 16 minutes. Looks like 17 minutes. You want to? Somebody want to do some shout outs to everybody that's watching? We got 5 people, and move on to something new and exciting.
Yeah, sure. I'll do some shout outs. We got FuzzFork8 out there. We got Kevin J. Stahl out there. What's up, Kevin? We got G out there. I seen G out there a few minutes ago. Paco Loco's out there. Yeah, that's about it. Little chat, which is cool. You know, just wanted to blow off some steam here with the guys. That's all this chat was really about.
We kind of
blowing off some steam.
We kind of dry ran this one. This was the first one that we kind of up and ran with, and hope y'all enjoy. Hope y'all enjoy it. We appreciate you coming out and watching it, and want to appreciate 10 Round for coming out and hanging out with the Dragon tonight. He's a pretty knowledgeable young man there.
I try when I can.
Indeed. Thank you, 10 Round. Thank you, Saints. Saints, 10 Round, do you guys want to move on to that other article we wanted to discuss?
Absolutely. So we were going across this article that we received, the 72 different types of domestic terrorists.
Domestic.
And
yeah. There you go.
Yeah, just to name off a few, they give a 72 list of different qualifications to be considered a domestic terrorist. Okay, so I'm going to read just the quick first 4 ones. Those that talk about individual liberties, those that advocate for states' rights, those that want to make the world a better place. So all of those basic things, which Do you guys not enjoy individual liberties? Do you guys not enjoy states' rights? Who doesn't want to make the world a better place? Lewis? I mean,
Uh,
Quasar?
Right, dude. It's ridiculous. It's getting to the point of it's Orwell. I mean, does anybody else not did anybody else read 1984 or watch the movie that was produced on the book 1984, written by George Orwell, which is a surname? The surname for the man escapes me, but I do know he was linked to a monarchy. He was linked to I think one of the British monarchies. But he's a powerful man that knew what was coming, who had a heart. Because not everybody in the elite have soulless black hearts, I believe. I think every once in a while, a good heart gets in there, and they have to take it out. They have to weed out, thin their herd, because they can't have anything like that. That's why, in my opinion, that's one of the reasons why they off JFK. I believe he started out one of them, and then he started not playing ball, and they had to, take action.
All right, so a few more. I'm going to read from the list. It says the colonists who sought to free themselves from British rule were considered domestic terrorists. How does that make you a domestic terrorist if you fucking wanted to be free? Okay?
yeah,
Those that are... Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think it was kind of those that believe I think this is probably a generalization from a bunch of different sources that they've accumulated to make this list, that certain probably politicians or talking heads, head on a stick, have got up and said somewhere, somehow, to make it to this list, to be worthy of this list. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one, Saints. Another one is those that are interested in defeating the communists. Okay? Those that believe that the interest of one's own nation are separate from the interest of others' nations or the common interest of all nations.
Okay, I want to go over some of these before we go all the way through, trample through the list here. Those that are interested in defeating the communists, okay, well, that would be pretty much everybody that volunteered to go to Vietnam, and probably everybody that fought against any kind of Soviet aggression during the Cold War, and that's quite a few people right there.
And anyone else who ever has agreed with those wars.
Yeah.
Because you participated into wanting to defeat the communists. Okay?
One of the ones that kind of stuck in my mind, just being me, is it says, it doesn't say the antithesis of it. It actually says anyone that is opposed to the New World Order. Not anyone that believes in a New World Order, anyone that believes the government has created a New World Order, anyone that is opposed to a New World Order. World government. Borders without sovereignty. Why are we as Americans, the American working blue collar middle class, we're the heart and soul of this country, not the rich elite and us and the super poor. We're the heart and soul of this fucking country. Why, if we're against world government and we want to keep our borders, keep our country secure, have a sound currency, have a national security agency that doesn't spy on us warrantlessly and grope us when we travel in the airplanes, why is that bad? Why are we being labeled threats?
Demonized.
The short answer of it is, and I'll just come out and state it, is because the criminals, the mafias, whatever you want to call them, the secret societies, they run your government. They not only run your big government, the federal government, they run your little governments too. But most of you are too fucking naive to see it. And that's a severe problem. Either you're naive, you're brainwashed to the point to where you're just not physically capable of seeing it, you're gone, or you're willfully ignorant. It means you know about it, but you choose to ignore it. And there is no other. As far as I'm concerned, you got no hope. When they shut off the power, when they cut off the food supply, when they turn off your EBT cards, and you can't go to the ATM and get $10 for some food and some government cheese to make some grilled cheese sandwiches, you're screwed. What are you gonna do? You gonna go hunt? Really? You're gonna go hunt? You're gonna kill some squirrels and some rabbits in your area? No. You're done. You're gonna starve to death, and you're gonna beg your government masters for a handout with a boot on your neck. No, thank you. I'd rather live free or die and starve in the woods. I'm not taking the mark of the beast. I don't choose to participate in a new world order. How many politicians got to come forward and talk about a new world order before people are going to realize that, yeah, there's multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar corporations behind the scenes working with governments all over the world to create a world government? They not only say this in their books, their writings, their papers, their white papers, but they talk about it on national TVs and drop hints there, hints over here, hints in their news articles. But no, we're not creating world government. We're not moving towards world government. You still have your sovereignty. It's mind-boggling. I'm sorry, guys. Any more that you want to go over?
Go ahead. I think we pretty much beat those up. You know, nobody wants to make the world a better place, so we'll move on to where'd you stop at? Number 6, Chris.
No, we read number 6. We're on number 7. Anyone that holds a political ideology, sorry about that considers the state to be unnecessary, harmful, or undesirable. So anyone who's against the state.
Okay, I want to know state. Now they're talking about your individual state or the.
I think they're considering it the government.
I think that's probably what they were bullseyeing at there. Yeah.
Okay, anyone that possesses an intolerance towards other religions. So if you don't agree with the Sharia law where all women have to be dressed from head to toe in these certain clothings, can't drive, have no individual rights, and if are raped, should be killed. If you disagree with that, you might be considered a domestic terrorist.
Yeah, there's some wives out there that's probably not going to go along with that Sharia law. I mean, because there's some women out there that knows how to shoot too, brother.
Yep, absolutely. Those that take action to fight against the exploitation of the environment and or animals. So people that are environmentalists, people that
PETA comes, the whale wars. There'll be no more whales wars shows. All you animal lovers.
Yeah, Greenpeace.
Okay, I'm going to do the next one as a quick 4 because these are just anyone who's anti-gay, anti-immigration, anti-Muslim, and for the patriotic movement.
Yeah.
How can you be for the patriotic movement and considered a domestic terrorist? You're patriotic for your country, for your countrymen. You're supposed to have some sort of allegiance and love for your countrymen. If we don't stick together, we're just going to be destroyed. Okay, opposition to equal rights for gays and lesbians. So I have to be okay with what gays and lesbians do? I have to be okay with that, or I'm considered a domestic terrorist? I have to be okay that they're showing 2 dudes kissing? I don't have kids, but how would I explain that to my kids? There's 2 dudes kissing. How do you explain to your kids where kids come from when there's 2 dudes kissing? It doesn't work. Members of the Family Research Council, members of the American Family Association. So if you're part of the American Family Association, you can be considered a domestic terrorist.
Yeah, because family is bad.
Absolutely.
If you're not funding or giving donations to Planned Parenthood, you might be on the list also.
Okay, those that believe that Mexico, Canada, because it's not Canada, and the United States are secretly planning to merge into the European Union-like entity that will be known as the North American Union. Which there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They have paperwork in the works right now to do it. The North American trade. Come on. Where am I at? Members of the American Border Patrol. How can you be... All right. Members of the American Border Patrol / American Patrol. So, I don't know what the American Border Patrol is. Do you think they're discussing actual Border Patrol agents?
Probably, dude. Unless it's some type of militia patrol or something down there.
They're probably the ones that actually stop people from crossing the border illegally.
I've never even heard of that / American Patrol. I don't know. Members of the Federation for American Immigration Reform. So, if you want immigration reform, you might be a domestic terrorist.
Right.
Where am I at? Members of the Christian Action Network. Anyone that is opposed to the New World Order, like what Quasar discussed. So if you don't want, if you're not happy with progression and getting rid of your individual rights, liberties, to conform to what these people want, you're a terrorist. You know, it's simple as that. You're a domestic terrorist. Where are we at? Anyone that is engaged in a conspiracy theories. Anyone that is opposed to Agenda 21. Anyone that is concerned about FEMA camps. FEMA camps are good for you, folks. When they board you up on your buses in the middle of the night, kicking in your doors, shooting your dog, get on the bus and go to the FEMA camp. They're there to take care of you. Your government loves you. They've never hurt anyone in the past. They're only doing that because they love and care for your safety.
Well, and then the fact of the matter is people will still call conspiracy on that subject. Oh, FEMA camps, that's not true. They're not real. When you can look up the government articles and see that they've been built, you can see how many's been built, you can see where they've been built, you can see that they're fully staffed, and if you even want a fucking job at one, you can even apply for a job at one. Because, believe it or not, KBR has job listings for them. And you can actually Google internment specialist job offers. Internment specialist.
And if you don't believe there's FEMA camps, do a little research. You can find out what FEMA region you're in.
And find out what regional FEMA governor you have, because you think you answer to your city governor, your state governor. No, you don't. You have a local FEMA region governor. And that's just it. And all of them answer to them because they're setting up the federal government system. That's why they're taking over all the police stations, all the sheriff stations and sheriff offices everywhere. They're either federalizing them through fiat, just treaties and shit, unconstitutional regulations, or they're just getting rid of them altogether. They're turning them into police stations.
Or they're being investigated so they can get people in there.
Yeah, exactly. Because your local sheriff has more power than the governor. Your governor's got to ask your local sheriff if he can come in and arrest you. Police departments have to ask the sheriff if they can go arrest you in his municipality. Because that's how the constitutional form of government was set up. There's not supposed to be cops without borders. There's not supposed to be federal agents kicking in your door. They don't have to announce themselves and don't have to have a warrant when they kick in your door and throw a flashbang that maims and mutilates your baby sleeping in his crib. Anybody remember that story?
Absolutely.
Huh? A fucking 700-degree flashbang going off in fucking your baby's crib. I'm sorry, but I'd want to murder every motherfucker that was a part of that. You burn my baby up? What? Eye for an eye. And nobody's held accountable, and I don't believe anybody was held accountable in that. I think they went to trial and they got off. It was ruled justified. Justified. They raided the wrong house, threw a flashbang that severely burned and maimed a 9-month or 8-month-old baby in its crib, and nobody was charged. And they were at the wrong house, by the way, folks. They were at the wrong house. If you read the article, it wasn't even the right house. Oops. We live in a tyrannical society. We're living in a tyrannical world, and people don't even want to acknowledge what's in front of their face.
All right,
the next one's the good one there.
Yeah, this next one really strikes a nerve with me. Anyone that fears impending gun control or weapons confiscation. So if you're concerned about keeping your weapons, about not giving them to your government as your government asks, about turning them all in, Mr. and Mrs. America, you're going to be a damn terrorist. You're considered a domestic terrorist. You know, how can they sit there and it's the second recognized constitution that was wrote to the government. It's not for the people, it's to the government, to let them know this is what these people have, no matter what. No matter what laws you try to put in place, you cannot touch these. You know, what part of shall not be infringed is so damn hard to understand. You know, how do you guys feel about it, Saints and Quasar?
It's all propaganda. Go ahead.
That one's pretty much everywhere. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, for goodness sakes, Los Angeles passes a law where you got to keep your guns in a lock safe, disassembled, with the damn gun lock on it now. So you got to ask permission from your intruder to go ahead and get your gun out.
Right. He's going to give you a timeout card.
Mm-hmm. You got 5 minutes to go ahead and get into your safe, assemble your weapon, take the lock off the weapon, and then we can go ahead and proceed. Come on.
But the criminals don't have to wait that time out, do they? They can go ahead and rob you and put the gun to your head.
Okay.
Or, I'm sorry, not in that order. The other order.
The next one's the good one, too. That's another good one.
All right. Anybody a part of the militia movement?
Ooh, the M word. M word again. Everybody duck. Hide your 22 bullets under the pillow, if you can find any. It's the
next
M word again.
The next one's an oxymoron. Anyone a part of the sovereign citizen movement? How can you be a sovereign and a citizen at the same time?
Yeah, that one's a little skewed there. Mm-hmm. I think that one's made to cover anything that the rest of them don't cover. Mm-hmm. They just throw the sovereign deal under there.
Let's read the big, bad, dirty Militia Creed, why don't we? I will act with courage. Wow, that sounds scary. Integrity and valor. More scary words. I will be strong in my resolve and certain in my step. Wow, that's a terrorist if I ever heard one. I will not yield to those who attempt to deprive me of my liberty. I will bear true faith and allegiance to my countrymen. I will uphold and defend the Constitution at all costs. Wow, those are scary words.
Mm-hmm.
I will provide for the defense of my community. I will practice virtue as a citizen in time of peace and honor as a soldier in time of war. Honor. That means not torturing people, folks. And I will be forever indebted to those before me so that others may live free. That's the Militia Creed, for anybody that don't know it. That's what the militias, if they're one of the real 1776 inspired, founding fathers inspired militias, they know this creed. But that's pretty scary words, huh, coming from terrorists that the Department of Homeland Security has labeled the founding fathers, who they said, and this is a direct quote from them, that they said the founding fathers would not be welcomed in today's military. Now think about that, folks. Your government, your modern day government, the people in charge in your government today say the founding fathers of this nation, the people that gave you free choice. See, that's the thing, free choice. They gave you free choice. They fought wars and suffered to give you free choice. And we're just going to let them squander it away because the people in power now know better than the people in 1776, apparently. Something wrong with that.
Mm-hmm. All right, the next one is people who don't think they have to pay taxes. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's not forced upon you. It's a You opt in or opt out. Anyone that complains about bias. Anyone that believes in the government conspiracies to the point of paranoia.
Man, that explains a lot. That's why I'm so sleepy.
Building 7. Buildings.
Go ahead, 10 round.
Building 7 fell down because of an office fire. That's all I have to say.
Oh my gosh! Pass out the Zoloft, pass out the Prozac. I think we'll be okay.
And that tends to be the majority of people that believe that lie still. It's the people that are hooked on prescription drugs, Zoloft. They're duped. They watch 5 hours of television, mainstream television at night, all their mainstream sitcoms that, impregnate them, these sitcoms, full of propaganda and mind control, subliminal messaging. But no, there's no such thing as subliminal messaging in any type of modern media. That don't exist. Anybody ever seen the movie They Live?
You know, Quasar, you basically are described. I can tell you're a domestic terrorist because the very next one that says anyone that is frustrated with the mainstream ideologies.
And mainstream.
Mainstream.
He nailed it.
He nailed it.
Yeah, right. I think he's jumping ahead there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's just it, dude.
No individualism anymore. No individualism. You got to believe what everybody else believes.
Yeah, it's mind control. It's forms of mind control, dude, and they're doing it on every level, and that's what's insanely science. It's almost like dude. I think about this all the time. In my opinion, in my conspiratorial opinion, we live in a Twilight episode. Like, not the Twilight, the vampire gay, beating each other with fangs and stuff. Crap. No. I mean, like the old series, Twilight Zone, because the shit that's going on in modern days and the facts that are coming out, facts like 9/11 and Building 7, come on. You people really fucking believe out there? You really believe a 35, 40-story building fell at free fall speeds from an office fire on one floor? All 4 corners of this building, look at the video, went down symmetrically, all at the same level. Boom. It dropped in under 6 seconds. The whole building.
The only metal steel building ever in history to fall from a fire.
Right. It was on 9/11, and there was 3 of them. How coincidental, folks? Why is it on 9/11, and then no other time in history have they not found the black boxes?
Yeah, and there's never been a building pancake like that one pancaked either.
Exactly.
Controlled demolition.
But we're conspiracists for asking these questions. What about all the videos that you can find on YouTube of police officers on that day, as it's happening, saying, "Get back, we're pulling the building"? What about Larry Silverstein, the owner of the building, admitting on fucking national TV? You can find this YouTube clip, too, of him personally admitting on national TV that we had to pull the building because the damage was too great. We had to pull the building, implying that they had to rig it with explosives and then bring the building down. You're going to tell me they did this on the same day that the 2 towers fell in a few hours? Bullshit! You people are naive that believe the official NIST report. You're naive. You're living in a fucking fantasy land. You're the true conspiracist, by definition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you need to give a warning for the next one because the Greendragon might be considered an extremist website.
I could. Anyone that visits extremist websites /blogs.
Okay, and they're going to categorize what they call extremists. You better be good.
It's up to their definition. They get to determine what is extremist and what isn't extremist.
Yes.
All right, I've read a third. You want to cover the next one? The next few ones, Saints or Quasar?
Yeah, I'll cover some of them. What number are you on?
We are on
34. 33.
33.
No, we read 33.
Okay. Anyone that establishes websites, blogs, or /blogs to display extremist views.
Ooh, Matt Drudge.
Yeah, so there goes Matt Drudge, there goes InfoWars, there goes everything. But the 6 mega corporate media giants, conglomerates, that own and control all newspapers, all radio and TV shows, and all cable news that's left. They control everything. But you people think you got a free media. You watch cable nightly news or cable morning news, and you think you're informed. Wow.
Is it really news if you have to ask permission to tell it?
Right. Is it really news if the person telling it to you is reading it fourth, fifth, and sixth hand from a news prompter, a telescreen? They didn't do the research. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're reading it off a screen. There's a big difference from that, folks. You're watching actors and thinking you're getting the news, when there's real reporters out there that are doing the fucking legwork, who aren't getting a dime and doing the hard research and whistleblowing on government, giving the real whistleblowers a voice, and you people want to demonize them and attack the messengers? You're delusional. Like I said, mind control. Number 35. Anyone that attends rallies for extremist causes.
And I've done that. I'm sure the guys on the Greendragon remembered when I went and I was picketing the illegal immigrants being busted into my neighboring town. How is that extremist wanting to preserve my country and not bring in these illegals that only bring diseases, suck from the taxes that we all have to pay into, because we don't get a choice. They force it out of our hands. More than 50% of everything you make is taken away.
I'm gonna skip a few of them here and just kind of pop around so we can get through it a little faster. But here's one that I kind of stuck in my mind. Number 38. Anyone that suddenly acquires weapons. So all you preppers out there that watch prepping and get into it for months and months and months, and then one day you decide, well, I'm ready to buy. And you go buy fucking $5,000 worth of shit or $1,000 worth of shit. Guess what? You just made the list, buddy. You just graduated.
Yeah, don't run out and buy a gun. You'll get on the list.
Right, exactly. Don't go run out and buy some food or some medical supplies, because you might be a domestic extremist.
What if you ran down and bought an axe? Could an axe be considered a weapon? I'm sure it would be.
I'm sure they don't consider it a tool anymore.
Yeah, I ordered a case of tomahawks. I guess that put me on the list.
Oh, here's a good one, too. Number 42, skipping from 38 to 42. Citizens that have bumper stickers that are patriotic or anti-UN. So if you decide to express your First Amendment rights on your private property, you're labeled and could possibly be put in a database or labeled a domestic extremist. Wow. But you're free, right? Yeah.
Well, they've reclassified number 41 because it says you might be a domestic terrorist if you're a general right-wing extremist.
Yeah.
So if you're just general, it's just, well, I'm not really crazy about this, but I like that, and I really don't want to do anything. I just kind of want to know the truth about it, but I will go hold a flag. But just generally, I'm, kind of right-wing, but not all the way. So, yep, they got you too.
Here's 4 I'm going to read real quick because they go together. Those that fiercely nationalistically are opposed to universally to international in orientation. Or let me read that one more time. Those that are fiercely nationalistic as opposed to universal and international in orientation. So that means if you want your sovereignty, this gets back to sovereign citizens, militia groups, patriots, constitutionalists.
Being American.
Basically being American, red-blooded American, you're an extremist. You're labeled an extremist. Okay? See, and just to pause for a minute, anybody that don't know where this list comes from, this has been gathered by a alternative media source. And these are all talking points that have been pulled out of mainstream news articles coming out of the government. So we're not speaking out of our ass when we're telling you guys this shit. This is stuff that's actually been put out there. Okay? The other one that goes along with that is those that are anti-global, those that are suspicious of centralized federal authority. Why would we be suspicious of centralized federal authority? Maybe because it gets into monarchism. Maybe because it gets into a tyranny, basically. rule without fucking rule. What is it called? Rule without subjugation. Rule. You know, there's a term for it. I can't think of it. You know, and then those that are reverent of individual liberty. So those right there should tell you those all go together. You know, if you're sovereign, if you're a red-blooded American that likes your country and you want your borders closed down, you believe in supporting your country, yada yada yada, you're a domestic extremist. Let me see.
I believe we're on
48.
48. Yeah.
48. Those that believe in conspiracy theories. So I guess that's everybody in these chats and everybody that listens to this afterwards. And if you believe that Building 7 did not fall under its own account, and it was probably brought down by some type of intervention other than an airplane debris from 2 other buildings falling that were blocks away, then maybe you are a conspiracy theorist.
Now if you'll research these and look, everything that's spoken is in parentheses, so it was quoted by somebody in power. Somebody of representation has quoted this somewhere because they're in quotation marks.
And if any of you guys want to follow along with us, the link is in the description box.
Absolutely.
It's the 72 types, it says at the end. All right, go ahead. You can skip a few if you want, Quasar, because some of them are repetitive.
Yeah, they are. They are. There's a bunch of religion ones in here, and I want to read some of these because a lot of people think this is just a conspiratorial. If you believe in conspiracies or you believe you're a patriot, that those are the people that are gonna have to worry. No, that's not true at all. And you're naive if you believe that. If you're severely Catholic, Christian, Muslim, it doesn't matter what religion you are. Frankly, they're coming for you because it's the wrong religion. It's not their religion. New world order, order out of chaos, one world government, one world religion, one world economy. That's it. That's what we're in store for. Everything they're doing worldwide is a pretext to set the chessboard to achieve their goals for world government, period.
Jumpsuits and tennis shoes for everybody.
Yep. And one of the pretexts for all that is a one world religion, like I stated. So therefore, they have to attack all the modern religions. So for this one, we'll go to 55. Anyone that is anti-abortion, 56. Anyone that is anti-Catholic, 57. Anyone that is anti-nuclear, nuclear family, has a nuclear family, you know, the original 1950s style Leave It to Beaver families, if anybody don't know what that term means. So there you go. You know, they're not only going after conspiracy minded people or people that don't trust the powers that be, because, you know, why should we trust them? Because they've done such a great job, right? All right. You know, then you people need to pay attention because they're passing laws that are going to affect your worship, your religion. Remember the pesky Constitution that says government shall pass no law that affects the right of religion? Isn't that how it goes? I don't know.
Yes.
Go ahead and skip to 59. This one is
yeah, returning veterans. 59. Returning veterans.
Thank y'all. Now just get inside the cage. Appreciate y'all's service. Sorry you lost some limbs.
Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you, Saints.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Good doggy. Thank you for going out there and being a good little dog. Now go back to your cage where you belong.
Yeah, and don't leave the county.
Yeah, don't leave the county. Number 60, those concerned about illegal immigration. Right, because that gets into sovereign borders. And if you believe in your sovereignty and having your borders closed down to protect the nation, well, we can't really do that since we want to create the NAFTA superhighway and a North American Union and merge Canada's economy and Mexico's economy with the U.S. economy. So we can't really have that. You folks out there think that might be why they haven't, you know, stopped the what did they say? 38,000 Mexicans or whoever were murdered in a war down there on the border states last year, the year before last. 40,000 people, we'll just say, had died on the border states, and we're worried about. They're worried about the flu virus killing you. They're worried about, you know, the protectionist state, the nanny state is out of control, people. You know, it's out of control.
All right.
Go ahead. Anybody else want to finish?
Yeah, there's this one also right here. Those that believe in the right to bear arms. So if you believe that you have a right to defend yourself from tyranny, from anything, just basically defense, because the right to bear arms doesn't give you the right to go out and murder. It gives you the right to defend yourself. You know,
And it is, and don't forget, it is the Second Amendment.
absolutely.
Got a little small factoid thrown in there.
Mhm. Anyone engaged in ammunition stockpiling. So any of you out there that have something more than 500-600 rounds, because they consider that a stockpile of more than 500-600 rounds, all of you might be considered terrorists.
Yeah, and all you people out there that's got 20,000 rounds of 22 ammunition, you're stockpiling, they'd be handed out.
And let's pause right there too, because
ain't none around here.
what would justify them to do that, to pass such, to have such a mentality? Well, maybe it's because people that are buying all these arms and ammunition and storable food and medical supplies are also the same types of people that believe in sovereignty and believe in the Constitution and believe in the Bill of Rights, and maybe somewhere in between there, some of those people know a little bit of history, and not just American history, but world history, and understand that history is repeating itself, and that if you get into history, you go back, you can see that we're in a march to tyranny. They're building the killing machine to kill us. Does anybody else not see this? They're constructing it in front of our eyes, and not only that, but we're paying it. We're paying for it. The most dangerous man to any government is the man who is able to think things out for himself. Almost inevitably, he comes to the conclusion that the government he lives under is dishonest, insane, and intolerable. H.I. Mencken, American writer, 1880 to 1956. You know, Joseph Stalin said, to get along with the same thing, ideas are far more powerful than guns. We don't allow our enemies to have guns. Why should we allow them to have ideas? Because this gets in along with the same thing. The same people that are buying guns have ideas. They don't want to be slaves or serfs. I'm done. Go ahead. Sorry.
I believe we were on 66.
Those that talk about the New World Order in a derogatory manner. Wow, I just fucking dug my own grave, didn't I, folks? I just dug my own grave.
You're way on that list. You got somebody piled on you, you're gonna need a wheelbarrow.
I'm not no Scientologist, but I'm pretty sure they wrote this list about you.
Yep, dude, for real, man. Here, and let's get into that a little bit. Let's talk about the New World Order that nobody seems to believe is out there. Gotta find the right little quote here. The New World Order will be built. An in-run on national sovereignty, eroding it piece by piece, will accomplish much more than an old-fashioned frontal assault. That came out of the Council on Foreign Relations Journal, 1974, page 558. See, that old CFR comes up over and over and over because, why would a group of people in 1974 at a private organization called the Council on Foreign Relations be discussing something called a New World Order? Wow, interesting. You know, we shall have world government whether or not we like it. The only question is whether world government will be achieved by conquest or consent. Paul Warburg, Council on Foreign Relations, and an architect of the Federal Reserve System, in an address to the U.S. Senate, February 17, 1950. In an address to the U.S. Senate. But no, there's no New World Order. There's no plot to create world government. There's no plot to take your sovereignty and your guns and your rights and your religion. No, 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 no. We're just a domestic extremist.
That's old. That was a long time ago. Everybody's forgot about that. That was on TV a long time ago. That's all old history.
Right. I'd like to welcome to the panel Mule Team 66. What's up, Mule? How you doing, man?
What's up, Mule?
What's up, Mule? All right, I'm going to go ahead and read the next one. Those that have a negative view of the United Nations. So if you're against world governments, not a single world government, these governments coming together, you might be considered a domestic terrorist.
Might be.
Those that are opposed to the collection of federal income taxes. So if you don't think the federal should be able to put their hand, federal government, deep within your pocket, look in there and see how much they want off of hard work that you did off the sweat of your own back. If you don't think that's right, you're probably a domestic terrorist.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, and you write a book about it, they'll put you in jail till you die, because they did Peter Schiff's dad.
Or your car might just blow up.
Yep, might do that too.
Okay. Those that have supported former presidential candidates Ron Paul, Chuck Baldwin, or Bob Barr. So if you supported Ron Paul, which is the most recent one,
Shucks.
if you supported him, that's considered domestic terrorism.
I hope you had your anonymous mask on when you were down at that Ron Paul rally holding that front campaign sign up.
Those that display the Gadsden flag, a.k.a. the Don't Tread on Me flag.
Whoa. That's a bit of history, isn't it? Isn't that just history?
And the last two, basically, just like I want to say at least a 10% of this list had to do about Christians, those that believe in end-time prophecies, and evangelical Christians. Not who believe in evangelical Christians themselves. So they can take a whole group of believers and say, if you are in this group, that you're most likely a domestic terrorist because you believe in God. That makes you a domestic terrorist. Yet I didn't see anything on here that says anything if you believe in the prophet, what's his name, Muhammad?
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
If you believe in the Prophet Muhammad, which says it's okay to kill the infidel, to kill non-believers, that's not on the list. No, don't worry about it. Those guys that just want to kill you and freaking martyrdom themselves for their God or for what they believe in, perfectly fine, not considered domestic terrorists. Evangelical Christians who preach nothing but love towards your fellow brethren and to try to save them so they can be in heaven with you forever, that right there, domestic terrorism.
Yeah, the end-time prophecies, that's kind of like saying to me, if you believe in the Bible, because the Bible's got end-time prophecy in it, if you believe in the Bible, you might be a domestic terrorist.
Absolutely.
Hey, guys, let's give Mule a chance to respond to any of this. Mule, I don't know how much you heard, man, but do you have anything to add? Or
It might not have any audio. You want to do? Somebody want to do a shout-out, see if Mule can get his audio up and going?
All right, I'll do a shout out. Looks like we got, let me start it from backwards. We got the Ranning Hick. What's up, Ranning Hick? We got Stan out there. Stan Ulch. What's up, Stan? My brother from Canada. Wild Iron Horseman. What's up, Wild Iron Horseman? Mill Team 66 is out there. We got High Desert Pioneer. What's up, High Desert Pioneer? Why aren't you in here, slacker? We got 420 Homestead. What's up, Justin?
Can you hear me now?
Absolutely.
Yes,
What's
sir.
All right, man. So all that talking I was doing, well, that's probably the best way for me on the dragon.
he's probably like, why are they over talking me?
That's probably best for me on the dragon anyway. I need to learn to shut up. But no, great topic, guys. And you know what? I posted that article with the We Are Change list here earlier today because I think I'm like 55 out of the 72.
Yeah, I'm a high number of them too, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few that I'm not, like an ex-veteran and shit like that. But otherwise, I got a damn good portion of that list covered.
But you support ex-veterans, so you can be on that one too.
Oh, hey, no problem. And you know what? When they're ready to come get me, they can come get me. They can have my gun hot and empty. I ain't getting locked up. Fuck that.
Yep.
What are you worried about?
Goddamn life skirting the law to make sure I don't get locked up while doing what I wanted to do. I ain't fucking taking it in the end.
That's my whole point, man. I've lived my whole life trying to be a good guy. A good guy. And then the government's going to turn, or this ain't a government, whatever's in control of our government is going to turn around and label everything you fucking want to do in your life a crime.
Well, see, that's where I have an advantage over a lot of people. I've been skirting the law my whole life, you know, doing my damnedest to make sure I don't get busted while doing what I want, which is break the law, the man's law, not, you know, natural moral law. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, man.
Because there's a fucking difference, right? There's a big difference between loaning people money and, you know, selling drugs that people take consciously, right, of their own free will, and somebody running hookers. You know what I mean?
No victim, no crime.
Yeah. So I've really believed in that most of my life, and I've done my damnedest to keep away from the law as much as possible. So now that they're going to just make the thing, I changed to become a human being, right, to become a Joe citizen and whatever. And now they're going to make being Joe citizen a crime. Fuck them.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck them, dude. When as soon as they start pushing over the line, and they're almost there, they're getting right up to that line nowadays, boy. As soon as they start crossing it, they're going to see more and more.
Well, they're not
whatever you want to call them, domestic threats, patriots, self-aware people are going to challenge them, and they don't like that.
Yeah, they're not done adding to the list, though. That's a young list. They're still adding to the list as the day goes along.
Yes. And, gentlemen, when you accepted your keys to the dragon, you immediately added another tick onto that list.
Isn't that wonderful?
Because you are now part of a conspiracy website. Enjoy.
Yeah, I argue with people all the time. You know, they tell me, I didn't say that. And I said, well, you sure did. You tell me on the phone. I said, well, how do you know? I said, well, I'll call the NSA because they're keeping up with everything I'm doing, and they'll play it back for you, and you can hear yourself say it because they're keeping it. Just in case I need it.
That's why I kind of laugh at, you know, we can't find Hillary's emails. Oh, we can't find her phone calls. Well, that's funny because according to the NSA and the documents that have been leaked, you fuckers have been recording every digital communication that's come out of this country since '93. Where's it at? Where's it at?
What's up with that? Where's it at? What's it at? What's up with that anyway?
You know, all these politicians.
That whole metadata thing, dude. They'll go through it if they have to, right? That's the way they gather the shit, right?
It's been proven that it's not just metadata they've been collecting, you know. So they have the ability. They don't have the sophisticated software to scan through the shit and sort it out like you're saying, but they're working on it.
Oh no, they can do it. If they can log up your number, your IP address, whatever the hell it is, they can log into all your shit and run it through a filter for keywords to where they'll be able to come up with it. Because trying to track anybody's life online when they're running 10 hours a day sometimes, nobody's going to do that. But they got algorithms that can do it looking for keywords, and they'll be able to listen to it.
Those
if they need to. But the federal government, somebody already took them to court for that, and they were told that the NSA doesn't have to turn over those records to civilians. So
right.
About that. Well, dang, I guess I'll have to argue with them about that thing.
Well, good looking, you know, I mean, that's the thing. It's funny. We can good looking arguing with them about anything. Something as simple as shall not be infringed sure as fuck looks infringed upon from my point of view.
Yeah, you know, and it's real funny too. They can't get the hand. What did they sell last month? In the month of September, it was 1.5 or 3 million guns. I forget what the numbers were in 1 month. It was 1 month.
Rebel did a great job on that T-shirt that I hope he's going to sell when he starts doing the T-shirts, with Obama being the greatest record salesman for 4 years running.
Yeah. You know? Hillary will surpass him.
Hillary ain't getting in, dude.
No, but
I still haven't changed my bet yet, right? That I did way back in 14 on the Dragon.
I'm holding that same bet too.
I don't know if we're making 16, baby. Not with the shit that's going on with China. China's getting all freaky. China's like, our economy's in the tank. We can stand to lose 2 billion motherfuckers, especially when we just said you can have 2 kids now, you know? Well, we need to lose about 2 generations, so let's get started on this. So now they're saber rattling with us.
Yeah.
You know, fucking NATO's over dumping troops into Ukraine. I mean, I shared a video. Fucking, you got U.S. Marines in Romania, right? Training the fucking Romanian army. Why are U.S. Marines in Romania? Well, maybe because it borders on the Russian territories?
It's a NATO country. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so it's just the fact that anybody really thinks.
Dude, and what's funny is that most of those countries surrounding Russia are gonna fold. They'll jump on Russia's bandwagon as soon as it happens.
Yeah, oh, sure. As soon as the line of fucking NATO drops, right, and the Russians cross the border, they'll go right back into the Soviet Union, jump on the bandwagon.
Yep.
Fuck, none of them. Only the Polish even changed the caliber of their fucking weapons. None of them started buying NATO weapons.
Yeah.
They're all still using fucking AKs and AK. They're all still using AKs and RPGs.
They're cheaper.
And T-Series tanks. Well, they got all the tooling. They're better made. They're cheaper. They have all the machinery to equip themselves. Why do you think the Russians handed that shit out like candy? Here, Romania, the bad neighborhood of Europe. Here, go ahead, start building your own ammo and your own guns, and you're on our side.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was probably there before the Cold War, and they just pulled the hammer and sickle off of it and kept building.
Oh, yeah. Well, hell yeah, I love it. I mean, believe me, Serbian guns, remember that was once Yugoslavia, right?
Wow.
So all the old Yugo guns and all the old and the new MPAPs and OPAPs, they're all ex-commie guns. That's why we love the AK. They're so fucking simple to make that they can only make it over there, right? They can't seem to make them over here, right?
Yeah, and we're all AK lovers in here. I know for a fact. Isn't it amazing and kind of exciting how that whole little shortage of AK, or the possibility of shortage of AK parts and AKs coming over, spurred a whole new industry in this country, to which even brought Kalashnikov USA over. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and the fact that you got guys like, that some people are starting to hold American companies to the fire to build a quality AK.
Yeah.
They will too, because there's people working on it right now as we speak.
Oh yeah, and if anybody out there, whoever's watching, if you don't pay attention to the AK Operators Union and you're an AK fan, you're missing out. Because Rob Ski's getting right down in the grass with some of these dudes, to where they're going to start building forged fucking trunnions instead of the cast stuff that's been coming out of America. You got somebody brought over a cold hammer forging machine from one of the old countries to start putting out really sweet barrels for the AK here in America.
Dude, his websites they even got Zenit rails on, real Russian Zenit rails on there. And I don't know if you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys know what those are. Those are actually the rails that the Russian Special Forces run, and they're fucking sick, but they're pricey, boy. Woo.
And heavy.
Yeah, they're heavy, but they're nice looking.
They are nice looking, but that's the thing, I mean, the Soviets looked at what the Americans did with the AR, especially after like the later part of the 90s, and started really jumping on that bandwagon. And now they're jealous of all the stuff that the American shooterers started putting on their AKs, and they've adopted. 5 years ago, Zenit wasn't putting out those kind of fucking rails. You know what I mean? But UTG was.
If they ever get somebody to start making those forgings on the true seamless hot forged uppers here in the USA, and get the machining down on them, they can produce, because the barrels are nothing. They've been doing those for years. All they have to do is change a little bit of the profile, and they can, and change a couple of button dies and a drill size, and they're producing barrels. But the trunnions supposedly were the kicking point on it, and if they could make a good forged or even a billet trunnion out of something good, 4350 or something like they used to make the old M2 barrels out of. They were labor intensive, but now with the new CNC technology, man, they ought to be able to spit those trunnions out and be billet and solid and take a licking.
Well, no, from what I understand is there's people coming up to start forging trunnions here in the United States. There's a couple of, it just makes sense as a startup company, and there's going to be people doing it. And, you're looking at maybe another 2 years out, if shit don't go sideways, But the funniest thing to me is, if we didn't fuck up our whole standing in the world, we could just open our borders to any AK, make them turn them into kits and bring them in. There's over 100 million AK variants out there in the world. You think people wouldn't like to make money sending them to us to sell?
Oh, absolutely.
And we Americans are crazy. Look at it. One of the things that are keeping our fucking economy afloat is our gun nuttiness. Every time they mention, we might think about taking the guns, it stimulates the economy. Literally. Makes you wonder if they're doing that shit on purpose.
It's terrible. You got people that's got 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 rounds put up that they're spending every extra dime they get on there, walking around with their feet sticking out of their tennis shoes. But by Ned, they got ammo.
Yeah, so you came to my house. Big deal. And shit, 2,000 rounds. Shit.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying.
I started rolling my own smoke so that way I could afford ammo. Fuck.
Yep.
That's a drop in a bucket.
They're going to have a set of boots eventually. I don't know whether they're looking for a battlefield recovery or what, but they're going to have ammo right now.
I have 5 people, and I have to make sure they're adequately armed. So that's why I keep everything to 3 calibers, right? 12, 7.62, and 9mm, because I gotta arm these people.
Absolutely.
But we got to be able to get through whatever the hell is getting through. Now, if it's just hunting deer or whatever, then a couple thousand rounds going to last you 10 generations. If it's a shit hit the fan situation, well, you don't know how you.
Well, how would you like to be in one of those flood of Muslim immigrants over in it's in Serbia and Sweden and places like that where they've got the onslaught of 1,000 people overrunning the place.
Well, think about the most people don't pay attention to history, but I know you do. It's sort of like the Chosin Reservoir, right? Or or parts of the Battle of Stalingrad, where they had more people than they have weapons, more people than they can make bullets. So what happens is the human wave attack.
Right.
Right. So what happens if you and your little you can have 10,000 rounds. You can shoot every one when 30,000 people are coming at you.
Well, that goes all the way back to past the Civil War. Where you pick up a rifle, that's a falling rifle. Boy, I'm sure you'd do a lot of that with old muzzle loaders. Hope you get one that hadn't been fired yet.
But well, you know what I'm saying is shit. No matter how much ammo you have, there's never enough.
Never enough.
But we're all domestic terrorists now, man. And, the funny thing is, everybody laughed when we were talking about that back in the day when Tony and HD were going to Bundy or Chris was heading out to, the immigrants being snuck through the border by our own damn government. We've been labeled for a long time. And you two, both of you, thank you for starting this chat tonight, by the way. Nugs and
no
Saints.
problem, dude. It was fun, man. It was fun.
Well, we're a little slow getting started. We got some assistance from another gentleman here, and he kind of led us on the right track, and didn't know whether he was going to get it up and going or not. Really didn't know how to put it out there to start with, but hey, it turned out pretty good so far.
It turned out great, I got to admit. And Chris gave up his keys, let's put it that way, because he had too much shit going on. Chris could run this by himself, no problem, and he knows how to do it. And anytime he wants his keys back, they're his, and he knows it. So, I just want to thank you guys, and let you know you guys took on. If you weren't on the list before, you're on it now, right?
Oh yeah.
I was on that list a long time ago, man.
Dude, I figured I got put on the list about 6 years ago when I started fucking writing like 3-page fucking articles to senators and congressmen going, what the fuck? So I'm probably there.
Yeah.
Well, the way I look at it, I don't think anybody wants to fight. People just want the freaking truth.
Dude, I don't want to hurt nobody, but I'm going to protect my family, my property, and my way of life as much as I can. Period.
Yes.
I think people just want the truth, no matter how harsh and how ugly it is. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be beat way down. But if you get the truth and you get beat down, stand back up and go at it again. It beats the alternative.
Yeah.
And the shame of it is once you start believing, once you start getting the truth, you can't plug yourself back into that matrix anymore, right? It really is, in a way, you know, a true statement. When they pull that out the back of your skull, you can't put it back in, you know, and
No.
not knowing what you know now. Once you take that red pill, you know.
I was just going to say, once you go down that rabbit hole with that pill, you better have chosen the right rabbit hole, because you ain't getting back out. And you might not like what you find either.
Well, and if you're really looking for the truth, you're not going to like what you find. But you know what?
No.
That's what it is, right? The truth is never going to be, you know, sunshine and rainbows and unicorns. You know, it's going to be humanity, and humanity, for all its, we can be great, right? We can have Mother Teresa's, but then we can also have Chairman Mao's, right? So, and most people are somewhere in between.
Yeah, it's amazing to, speaking of Chairman Mao, it's amazing to see this country. And these people, on one hand, these will be normal, you know, 9 to 5 people. They got their whole family thing going on. They might not go to church every night or every month. They might not go at all. But they do the 9 to 5 job thing. They do the kid thing. You know, they go to work. They come home. They pay their bills. They go on vacation a little bit every once in a while, and that's it. They watch their little news. They get their information from these little clips and shit, and they think they're informed. I got a rough about way about knowing about what's going on, so I'm good. You know, I don't need to research anymore. When in reality, they're so far behind. It's almost sad.
It's easier to deny it, though, than it is to accept it, because you can be in denial and just go on living your life like nothing's ever going to happen.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I was talking to Case on, I think it was Friday or Thursday, but what I've come to find out is that in a lot of ways it hurts people's. It's a physical pain in their head when you start giving people new ideas and making them question their old ideas. Right?
Their paradigm, yeah.
Their delusions, yeah. When you start breaking down their delusions, the things that they're not informed on, and start showing them the real truth, it causes pain, physical pain in their heads. And you see it with people when you start presenting facts to things, right? And it blows their minds, and they go, "Wait a minute," you know, and it makes their head hurt.
Yeah, you can actually see that, like you said, Mule. You can see their eyes almost like kind of bug out a little bit, and they get that blank stare, like, what?
Well, yeah, I mean, and there's so many examples of it. It's ridiculous. There was a news story a while back about, you know, this racism on a campus somewhere, I think in Maryland or something, where they had found strings hanging off a tree, right? And somebody was saying they were symbols for nooses, and because there was going to be this rally this anti-racism rally on campus, and they saw it just beforehand. Well, no, it turned out those strings had been in that tree for months, and they were holding Chinese lanterns, so that's why they looked the way they did, right? And an alumni dinner from months ago had left the strings there, right? And but the campus came out and they did a whole investigation of it, and they said that, you know, even though this isn't really about racism, it's about racism.
Right.
So it's just ridiculous. It's all yours, guys.
Yeah, I mean, Saints, Mule, 10 round, you guys got anything else you want to add here? It's getting a little late. Everybody got to get ready for the work week and shit.
Yeah, we can run one more shout out real quick. What's up, Ranning Hicks? Thank you for coming out. Broken Pedal Deck, I guess that's how you say it. Head deck, something like that. Glocker Bob, what's up, Glocker Bob? Good to see you around, brother. Tactical Tony's out there. What's up, Tactical Tony? Stan is also still out there. P NASCARs, what's up, P NASCARs? How's it going? G Mangoes, Mule is out there. He's also in here. High Desert Pioneer, Justin from 420. And looks like we've been back past the last hour, so just want to really appreciate everyone that, appreciate anyone that talked in the side chat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Again, sorry guys for the mix-up earlier. We wanted to start at 10. Technical difficulties because I'm a newbie working with the Google Plus platform, so we didn't really get up and going until around 11. So I just wanted to say sorry about that again. And I guess 10 round. You got any last words, man?
No, just go check my channel out on YouTube.
There you go. Mule?
Yeah, I gotta say it's nice seeing Greendragon running on a Sunday again. It's been a while, and thank you guys for you guys, G, Tony, for picking up this mantle and keeping it going. I appreciate that, and I'll support you guys 100%. And thank you again. I really do appreciate it. It's good to see one on a Sunday night.
Well, the next one we run out, we're going to put a little bit of forewarning on it, and the material may be a little sharper, a little higher up on the ladder. Maybe we can refine it a little bit and make something that's actually worth sitting and listening to.
Yeah, and I hope nobody out there got hurt that we didn't send a bunch of links out and have everybody on the live panel and stuff. But we wanted to kind of stick to topic and keep the chatter down a little bit and just try to put on a good show for you guys to hopefully learn from. And with that being said, Saints, you got any last words, bud?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to the Dragon. Mule, appreciate us giving us a chance with it. Maybe we can run with it. 10 round, appreciate it, brother. You pulled a ringer out on this one right here. Nugs, outstanding, great history, nice history lesson. Wake up, people. Tony G, HDP, Wild Iron, everybody that stopped, and everybody else in the chats that stopped by. Appreciate y'all. Hey, keep prepping. Something's coming. Keep prepping. Don't stop. You're not there yet.
Yeah, I just got one more thing to say. People, when they see all these crazy news articles and stuff, and these wild tales of current events and world politics, geopolitics, just remember, Aldous Huxley said the propagandist's purpose is to make one set of people forget that certain other sets of people are human. Retain your humanity, people. Remember to be moral. Think moral within moral terms. Live free.